What is up, dudes? Lady dudes, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today, I've got another deck profile. Finally, an in-person deck profile. I am still missing a couple cards, but it's nowhere near as many as I was before, so hopefully we are good on that facet where I'm missing a few enough cards or I'm okay to do a deck profile like this, and hopefully I'll have them sooner than later. And you'll understand why I don't have them when I reveal what they are. This is by no means a budget deck profile, but this is SUBTERROR's, one of my favorite control decks to play at the moment, and has kind of, I feel like, phased Altergeist out of the meta. Before, Altergeist were kind of here, and I don't think SUBTERRORs are as good as Altergeist were relative to the rest of the meta, but they're solid and they're topping more so than Altergeists are, so they're a good deck. I think nobody can really deny that. So don't be surprised if you go to an event and you see this deck, you know, more than one time. But yeah, let's get right into the list. So this is my version of SUBTERRORs. I think this version is kind of interesting. I'm trying to do my own little spin on it, and I think I do a decent job of that. But a lot of the deck has to kind of be run a certain way. So a lot of the cards you'll see in a lot of deck profiles. But first you start off with SUBTERROR Guru. He's like your main monster. When he's flipped face up, he searches any SUBTERROR card, and also when he's on face up, he can flip himself and another monster on the field face down. If you have another face up SUBTERROR card, then this can be a quick effect activated on your opponent's turn. But he's your main monster. You go through him all the time. You need him to play. He's the reason why the deck is a contender right now. Then we have 3 SUBTERROR Fiendish. She is she's got to be here. You got to play her. She's a 3 of in every deck profile you'll see for SUBTERROR. She's a hand trap that just says negate any one card. It doesn't destroy though, and that does actually come up a decent amount, but she's still super good no matter how you look at her. Just any card that can just negate one thing, and that's why this deck is a back row deck that doesn't necessarily care about evenly matched that much. A lot of people might try to side in evenly match against you because you're a back row deck, but you have this in the hand. This negates anything. So this just straight up like negates evenly matched, and then like your opponent wasted their main phase 1 and their battle phase and essentially did nothing. It just baited out one hand trap. Also, her second effect comes up all the time too, where she can flip herself, or actually flip any monster you control face down. Yeah, target one face-up monster you control, change it face down, and then special summon a SUBTERROR from hand or graveyard, which is really nice if your opponent somehow outed Guru in a way that you couldn't negate. So like if they Kaiju'd Guru to get him off the field, and then you like Fiendist him back, that can come up. Or if Umastrix is in the graveyard or in hand, you can help unclog your hand that way as well. It does come up, actually, more than I thought it would. For the one-of monsters, I do play 1 Archer, 1 Umastrix. Super, super standard. If you don't know what Archer does, when she is destroyed by battle or card effect, she can special summon any SUBTERROR straight from the deck. So you can pull Gurus out, you can pull Umastrix out, depends on the situation. And also, if you control another SUBTERROR monster and she attacks a face-down defense position monster, that monster gets shuffled right into the deck. Non-targeting, non-destruction removal, which is pretty nice. I actually haven't used that effect yet. I've used her float effect, but I have yet to use that other effect. But still, I don't think I'd cut her. She's still been good when I saw her. I don't think I've seen her once, and it was, like, bad. So I'd keep her. Then we have SUBTERROR Umastrix. He's really your boss monster for the deck. He says when he's flipped face up, he can target and banish any monster your opponent controls, and then also once per turn he can flip himself back face down. And he also gets himself out of the hand. If a monster on your field is flipped face down and then you control no other face up monsters after that, he can special summon himself from hand. So he's pretty nice. You just use him when you have a monster that you really need to get rid of and just banish it off the field. I know they're ugly to some people, but I do have the common Ash Blossoms. If you can't even see it, geez, that is not really coming through that cleanly, but yeah. Common Ash Blossom. This is one of the cards I was kind of waiting for, and at some point I am going to get the nicer Ash Blossoms, but for now, at least so that I can do the deck profiles without a ton of proxies or empty sleeves, I'm just going to play the commons for now, and also I wanted the Salamangreat stuff, but yeah, it's Ash, nothing much to say there, and the only other monster hand trap I play is Ghost, Ogre, and Snow Rabbit. This card is actually really good right now. Like, it has really solid use in pretty much every matchup in like the meta right now. So like obviously with Striker, you hit the multi-roll, that can make it, like, this card a blowout in that situation. You hit like Summon Sorceress against the combo decks. You hit You can hit Saryuja in the Thunder Dragon matchup, which really like puts such like a weird them in such a weird position and like how to fit all their extra deck monsters without Saryuja. And then what else am I thinking? Altergeist, you can hit a couple cards. They have a couple of their monsters with this. And is there anything else? I guess that's like the main meta stuff. Salamangrates. Salamangrates have you can hit Sunlight Wolf to pop it. You can hit the Stalio, but that's not really that good. They all have like activate effects on board that you can hit with this, more or less. There's a lot of applications. I don't know exactly the whole matchup yet and what the best way to use this, but this does actually have solid value against Salamangrates as well. It's just good against like everything. We're just in a meta where Ogre is back in use again, and I love it. I love Ogre. It's one of my favorite hand traps. Then we have 3 Hidden City and 2 Terraforming. Nothing crazy here. It's a field spell that searches. It's a field spell that searches any Subterror monster, so why would you not play it at 5, essentially? It also has an effect where you flip a face-down monster face up, a face-down Subterror, I believe specifically. Yeah, face up, which then would trigger Guru. So what you do all the time is you activate this, you search Guru, you set Guru face down, use this to flip him face up, and then Guru will search you another Subterror card. So really good for advantage generation there. And the other effect is that if you control a face down, is it face down? Yeah, if you have a face down Subterror monster and your opponent attacks, you can negate the attack by flipping that Subterror face up, which comes up actually more than I thought it would. Well, not even come up, but like it doesn't even activate that often. It's just like people won't attack, and that's why I sometimes forget, is because it doesn't actually get to be activated that often, because people just read the card and they're like, oh, like there's no reason for me to attack to give him a free search off of Guru, like letting him just flip his Guru face up for free. And then 3 Pot of Extravagance. This is one of the cards I'm missing. It's $75 like per copy, so you know, these 2 sleeves are missing $150 worth of card in them, so that's why I don't have it right now. But it just says draw 2. You really need consistency, so this card is huge. I think if you don't play this at 3, then like your Subterror deck is going to be sorely lacking, in my opinion. I played 2 Duality. You can play this at 3 if you want, but I was trying to keep the deck 40, and with the way my trap lineup is, 2 was fitting better for me. Really nice. It doesn't draw, so it still works with Extravagance. You can Extravagance into Duality and still activate Duality, which is really nice, and it just grabs you whatever card you're missing from your hand if it happens to be in the top 3 cards of your deck. And then the 1 power card I play Scapegoat, which is actually like so strong. Like, people forget how strong this card is because it's not in multiple, so a lot of meta decks don't play it anymore. Like, you don't see Trickstars running around with this. Well, they still play it, actually. Trickstars do, but you just don't see Trickstars. They're not as prevalent as they used to be. But this card's insane, man. Like, I don't know if I've lost a duel that in a turn I've activated this card. Like, or in a duel I've activated this card. Like, you just make Boarload, you make Nightmares, and like removing stuff on your way to Boarload, and it's just crazy. So, do not sleep on this card. And also, the only reason people don't play Scapegoat is because you have to allocate a lot of extra deck slots to really make it worth. But this deck literally does not have a single necessary extra deck card, which is why you can play a generic card like that like, this deck just does not need the extra deck whatsoever. If you didn't play that and you didn't play like Super Poly, you could just not play an extra deck if you didn't want to, you know? Like, that's how little this deck cares. And then something that is a little different than most lists, I would say, is a Subterror Final Battle at 3. You'll see why in a second, or in a little bit, but this card's just insane. The fact that I think the individual effects of this card are not that insane, but the fact that it's not once per turn, so if you set 2 or God forbid 3, you can just activate 3 in 1 turn, as well as the fact that they set themselves back face down after they activate. If you don't know what they do, real quick, if you are for some reason not heard about Subterrors being good yet and you don't know what they do, this card has 4 effects. When you activate it, you just choose one of them, and then after it's done using its effect, it flips itself back face down. So the first one says change a set Subterror face up to attack or defense mode, change a face up Subterror to face down defense position, make 1 Subterror monster on the field's attack and defense equal to its total attack and defense, so you just combine their stats, and that's what both their stats become until the end of the turn. And then the last effect just says that Subterror effects cannot be negated that turn. That actually comes up if it's like a weird duel and you think your opponent has Ash Blossom, or you can even like use this after, but this just says like Subterror effects cannot be negated. So if your opponent would like Ash Subterror Guru on the search, you can just make that unnegatable, and Ash becomes a blank in your opponent's hand if you don't give them any other openings to use it. But yeah, most people played it 2. I only played it 3 for a specific reason. You'll see, and it'll make a lot of sense in just a second. I played 2 Heavy Storm Duster because backup matchups or back row matchups can be kind of tough sometimes, and so I wanted to have a card in the main deck that could really help me in those matchups. If I do win the die roll, this card becomes twice as good, but can actually still be good if you don't give them many openings to use anything, even if you're going second. Like that's what this deck does, is that like sometimes you just don't even give your opponent a ton of openings to use it when you're going second, because you just like set a Guru, set 3 back row. Your opponent really didn't have anywhere to like use anything super stunny, and then on your opponent's turn you duster their back row that they set on turn 1, and they never really had an opening to use it, and you just removed 2. You traded a 2 for 1, which is always good. So 2 of that, not 3, because 3 is just too many, and there are a couple decks in the meta right now that just don't care about that much. So like Thunder Dragons don't even really pay a back row, so that. And then this is 2 Infinite Impermanence. This is the last hand trap I play to go with the Ogres and the Ashes. I haven't done, or I don't have these, but I've been testing with it on Nexus, and it's pretty good. I mean, it's a good hand trap. I mean, what are you gonna do? I think it's probably better than Veiler. It can't be called, and it's not restricted to only being activated in main phase 1. But yeah, this card's just it's just good, and it works with the last card I'm about to show you. The last normal trap I have, which is 2 Trap Trick. So the reason I love this card is just the fact that it literally is just like anything you need. So this can be Impermanence. If you don't know what Trap Trick does, Trap Trick just says banish one normal trap from your deck to set another copy of that card. So you banish 1 Impermanence, you set the other one. You banish Heavy Storm Duster, you set another one. You banish a Subterror Final Battle, you set another one. And that's why I play 3 Final Battles, because if you banish 1 to set 1, you still want to be able to set up the double Final Battle like board, because that's like such a good situation to be in. Because in 1 turn, you can flip a Guru up, flip a Guru down, flip a Guru up, flip a Guru down, and then just like you can do that every turn on your opponent's turn. You can make his stats 3,400, and like your opponent like struggles so much to get him off the field that it's really good. But yeah, Trap Trick only a 2 because I don't play that many normal traps, but these can be the reason I like this is because it's essentially 2 more copies of Infinite Impermanence if I just want to set a negate a monster effect card. If that's like the best for my situation, this can just be 2 more copies of Infinite Impermanence to negate monster effects. This can be 2 more copies of Heavy Storm Duster to just kill my opponent's back row, or this can just be 2 more copies of Subterror Final Battle. Just depends on the situation. And this is what I've been doing, what I've been playing for right now. So yeah, Trap Trick. I think I saw 1 list playing that, but not really a ton. And I also play 2. There can only be 1. I hate playing 3 of Floodgates, because like if you see 2, like the second one's completely useless. So 2 is good for me, and I think this is probably the best of like the generic Floodgates right now. And this deck just plays all different monsters. Guru's a dragon, Phoenix is a spellcaster, Archer is a warrior. No, she's a fairy, and then Uma Strix is a reptile. So like you play all different monsters. So this card like does not hurt you like ever. And then to finish up the trap lineup, I play all the Solemns. I think you just got it. These cards are so good. These cards complete a board. In terms of like just being able to stun your opponents that they just can't play at all, these cards like will complete a board. You draw your Floodgate with one of these and a Phoenix in hand, like not a lot of decks can play through that. And if they do, their resources are going to be so depleted at that point. So I just think these are so good. Like against Thunder Dragon, if they go into like Saryuja, and you just like strike it, like you just win the duel, because they put so many resources right into that Saryuja, and then it's just gone. And they can't even set up, like they can't even open up zones to put like multiple Thunders on board. It's there. All right, then we're going to move into the extra deck real quick. So there's not a lot going on here. It's a ton of Scapegoat stuff, right? So 2 Link Spiders and a Link Karibo. Nothing crazy, Scapegoat stuff. I do play 3 Mrs. Radiant because half the time when I Scapegoat, I literally just make 2 Mrs. Radiants. And that way, like, Guru's 2,600, Archer's 2,600, Umastrix is 3,000. Even Fiendus is 1,800, like almost a beat stick. So half the time I literally just go into Mrs. Radiant and then just play beatdown because I have like back row, I have floodgates, I have like stun for my opponent. I'm just trying to like apply the pressure now offensively. So I want to play 3 of these because with the Pot of Extravagance, if I do banish 1 or 2, I still want to have 1 left over to possibly give my Subterrors that boost just in case. I play 1 Underclock Taker. This card is literally there because I didn't really know what else to put in here because it's literally just a ton of Link monsters to make the most use out of Scapegoat when I draw it. So Underclock. And then some Nightmares, Nightmare, Cerberus, and Phoenix. I actually should probably play 2 Phoenix just because of Extravagance. If you banish 1, this can be your only back row removal in the extra deck. Well, no, I do play. You have like Unicorn and Ningirsu, but still. This is like the easiest way to remove stuff. Ningirsu for the Link 3s, Triple Burst, and Nightmare Unicorn. So Ningirsu is here because some decks do play Goza Match. I'm sure some Subterror player, or not some Salamangreat players will try to play Goza Match. So this allows you to play, being an Earth, go through Scapegoat and still out a card, any card on the field essentially, with him under Scapegoat the whole way, and still have like a 2,500 beat stick on board. Which is pretty good. Triple Burst is there for like really niche decks and situations where you're negating floaters or whatever. Yeah, he's just there for if it's like a really weird situation where he comes up. He really won't though. He's probably one of the first cards I drop. Again, he's like Underclock. I just grabbed him as just like something to help fill space. Nightmare Unicorn. Remove anything like. Play it. if you play any cards in your deck that can help you put monsters on the board pretty easily, I would play Unicorn. And then for the Link 4s, I play 1 Nightmare Griffin, 1 Borreload Dragon, and 1 Saryuja. I don't have Borrelsword. I'd probably play Borrelsword over Saryuja. I would definitely keep Borreload, and I think Griffin's actually like solid in like the back row decks, right? Like I just have like powerful cards. Like I literally could just discard a card to get a solemn back, to get there can be only 1 back, to get, you know, Subterror Final Battle back, to get Scapegoat. I could literally Scapegoat into Griffin and then reset Scapegoat. If I know my opponent doesn't really have much to mess with me, I could just set another Scapegoat and then Scapegoat again and then make another huge monster next turn. Like there's just so much. Like I could reset, I could set like Hidden City back and then search and then get my engine going again. Like, so he comes up sometimes where Borreload is actually like unnecessary. Like I'm just like, Borreload doesn't actually do much for me here. I'd rather just go into Griffin and like, you know, get things going from the graveyard by getting like either Powerful Trap or one of my spell cards back. So Saryuja is like unnecessary at all, like completely. Like I've never used it. I probably won't ever use it. It's literally here because the other 2 cards I said that like once I played those first 12 cards, this Triple Burst and Underclock are like completely unnecessary. You probably will never go into them, and you actually probably never go into a single one of these cards outside of Scapegoat. But that's why Scapegoat's there, is because you don't really go into your extra deck at all with the like actual Subterror stuff. But yeah, this is all I play here. If you wanted to play Super Polymerization, you would definitely be able to, if you wanted to, with Scapegoat as like another power 1 of, to just drop like a couple of these cards, like the ones I named, and then replace it with like some Super Polymerization targets. That's totally viable. And there were a couple cards I did want to talk about that I did not choose to put in my list, but I definitely might hear some stuff about them. So I did want to talk about them real quick. Subterror Cave Clash. It's like, it's not a bad card. I've had duels where it's like fine, but it's just like a win more card. Like, if you're dealing your opponent damage, it's probably because you're in a situation, that's just generally how it goes. You're in a situation where you're controlling the board. Like if you're dealing your opponent damage, it's probably because you have Subterror Guru and you had Final Battle to boost him. So like if you already had that kind of setup, you probably have the field spell, you probably have maybe other back row, a Fiendus in hand, and you don't really need this card. I mean, it's not bad. it's just like win more, and I'd rather have more starter consistency power cards than a win more cards. So that's why I decided not to play it. It also does have nice value, though. I will say that it is nice sometimes with this card, where you can search this just to make Guru's ability live, but that's like so situational if you already have Fiendus in hand, because otherwise you just search Fiendus off of like Guru to have Fiendus in hand to gain anything, or if you have Fiendus already in hand, you could search this, but like you still probably want Final Battle over it. So like the only like situation you would ever like really go for this off of Guru is if you already had like Guru, Hidden City, Final Battle, and a Fiendus in hand, and then you go for this card. So it's like it's just 2 win more. Super Poly, I brought it up a couple times, but I definitely would consider playing it. We saw the guy who topped at the Dusseldorf this weekend playing Super Poly. I think I would definitely play it in the side deck, because you have so many like extra deck slots. You could just take like, you know, the scapegoat stuff out, some of the scapegoat stuff out for Super Poly targets. You could play like Violet Chimera, whatever, Chimera, Duplexer Chimera, the other Cyberus one that just takes any 2 Cyberus monsters. You could play Thunder Dragon Colossus. You could play what else? What are the other ones? You could play like the Starving Venom or the Predaplant, the ones that chase any 2 dark monsters. You could take the one of the Prank Kids fusions, the smaller fusions, just if you do play them. There's a lot of value for this card, I will say. I just think there are going to be matchups where you're like, oh, this literally doesn't make a fusion out of anything in my opponent's deck. So it's just like really bad to draw in those situations. But I definitely would side it, at the very least side it, because if you can put the right targets in your extra deck because you have room, I would definitely play this card. It's just so powerful. Like, you just win the duel if you resolve this, like, really. And then the last card is probably like Goza Match. I've seen some players play this, but right now I just don't think Goza Match is that good. Against the Thunder Dragon deck, it's not that good because they can just still do like all the danger stuff, and even Colossus is still dark. So like they can do so much under Goza Match. Salamangreats, even some Salamangreat players actually play Goza Match, so like obviously it's not good against them. It's solid against Altergeist, it's solid against Striker, but like the other decks, it's just really not good at all against. So it's so like hit or miss. I would side deck it and then side it in against like those better matchups, but other than that, I just don't think it's worth playing cards that are so hit or miss, because like you may hit a decent amount of time, but when you miss, you're gonna miss hard. You're gonna whiff and you're gonna fall on your ass. So that's why I don't play the Goza Match. But guys, that's pretty much the whole deck profile. Let me know what you think about my version of SUBTERRORs. If you think I should change anything, let me know if you liked it. If you have any suggestions for me, I'm definitely looking for suggestions. I've seen a lot of SUBTERROR profiles. A lot of them are very, very similar. So I was trying to do something a little different with the trap tricks, with the little trap trick engine there. And yeah, just let me know what you think, and go ahead and subscribe to the channel for more deck profiles from me in the future. I'm definitely have a good couple lined up, and I'm still working on those. But yeah, guys, I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.